If you found out Mickey Mouse was actually a secret Illuminati mascot, would you freak out or just shrug and keep eating your delicious Mickey waffles like nothing happened? Well, with that thought swirling in your head, welcome back to Don't Quote Me, It's Probably Nothing, the podcast where we dive into the wildest stories, sprinkle in some facts, and maybe just a little bit of magic. Full disclosure, I love Disney. Like deep, whole heart love. The castles, the characters, the Mickey waffles, I am here for all of it. So when I say that I'm about to unpack some of the craziest Disney conspiracy theories out there, just know I'm doing it with all the love and zero shade. Disney is literally the happiest place on earth, no ifs, ands, or buts, and I'm actually in Disney right now as this episode is airing. But these theories are too wild and fun to ignore. From Walt Disney being frozen in a secret lab, to sneaky Illuminati symbols hiding in plain sight, to the rumors about hidden adult jokes in your favorite childhood movies, we are covering it all. Well, I'm covering it all. So grab your Mickey ears, a churro, and maybe a healthy dose of skepticism because we're diving into the happiest conspiracy theories on Earth. But don't quote me, it's probably nothing. Let's kick off this magical mystery tour with the OG Disney conspiracy theory, the one about Walt Disney himself being cryogenically frozen. The story goes that when Walt passed away in 1966, instead of being laid to rest like a normal human, he was frozen in some secret lab, waiting for future technology to bring him back to life. Like a real life Sleeping Beauty. But instead of a princess kiss, it's silence that's supposed to do the trick. Not silence. That was supposed to be silence. I feel like silence would be good for any parent out there. There were some out there who believed this theory because Disney was all about innovation and pushing boundaries. So it's almost poetic to imagine he'd want to cheat death and come back for a new ride or two. Plus, the company was super secretive back then, which just made rumors snowball. But here's the thing, it's totally a myth because Walt Disney was cremated and his ashes were interred at Forest Lawn Memorial Park in California. No secret freezing chambers, no hidden cryotubes, just good old-fashioned resting in peace. That said, the legend lives on partly because it sounds so darn cool. I mean, who wouldn't want to think that Walt might still be chilling somewhere, plotting new magical worlds for us all? So while you're wandering through the parks, maybe give a little nod to Walt, the man, the myth, the definitely not frozen. I cracked myself up. Also, this mic picks up everything, so if you hear something that you think is a TV in the background, it's literally just my husband because he does not know how to listen to TikTok at a low volume from 2 rooms away. So my information finder, Steve, sent me this creepypasta link about Club 33, and it was perfect for this episode. It's basically about how this dude went to Disney and found Walt's frozen head in a jar or some shit. Obviously, it's fake because it's creepypasta, but it made me chuckle because I vaguely remember a Simpsons episode where someone came across Walt's frozen head, but then the head comes alive and Walt is talking to everyone. But anyway, let's dive into one of the juiciest Disney conspiracy theories. The idea that your favorite childhood movies are packed with sneaky adult jokes and subliminal messages. Yep, those cartoons you watched on repeat might have been playing a little game of spot the hidden joke all along. First up, we have The Lion King. So there's a famous rumor that during the song Be Prepared, which is a banger by the way, there are subliminal messages tied to the mark of the beast. You know, that scary number 666. During the song, the hyenas get thrown into bones, and when they come up, they have animal skulls on top of their heads, and people ran with the whole mark of the beast thing. And some also say that there were hidden symbols in the flames of the fire when Scar was on top of the rock that was rising to the surface. I've watched it a million times and never noticed, even just a few minutes ago while I was looking for it. So I don't know if that's legit or not. But the other one is that when Simba is laying on the rock at night, the stars spell sex. But this was actually addressed by Disney, and they said that the stars actually spell SFX, which stands for Supernatural Foundation Extraterrestrials. But maybe that was their way of saying aliens. But I definitely think it looks more like an F than an E, but once you see it, it's kind of hard to unsee. Moving on to Aladdin, where Genie's fast-talking jokes and gestures have sparked plenty of eyebrow raises. Some think there's a risque joke or two slipped in that zoomed right over kids' heads, but gave adults a chuckle. And I feel like that's most cartoons and kids' movies today because, they crack me the hell up. And then we can't forget The Little Mermaid, where some viewers point out what looks like phallic shapes. And in case you don't know what that word means, they look like dicks. Also, you have no idea how hard it was just 2 seconds ago to not quote the whole entire mirror scene from Wanderlust. Actually, I think I want to play it for you because I can.
This was your idea, George. It's a good idea, right? It's a good idea. Monogamy is sexual slavery. She got an exquisite pussy. Well, how about my exquisite erection, huh? Eva, what do you think? You like my exquisite erection? Do you like my erection selection? What do you think, Eva? Yeah? You gonna take it? You gonna take that dick? You gonna take that dick up? I'm gonna pop off a piece of my dick. Oh yeah, I'm fixing to fuck you. I'll fuck you. I'm gonna get it all up in your vag. Get it up in your vag with my dick. With my dick. Gonna put it in with my dick. I'm gonna put my dick in. I'm gonna put my dick in. What's up, man? You all right? What's up?
It kills me every time. Also, if you want to know like the type of wife that I am, sometimes I tell my husband how much I like his erection selection. Also, I'm pretty sure some of his coworkers listen to this, so you're welcome, I guess. But anyway, back to the phallic designs in The Little Mermaid. Disney chalked it up to an unintentional design choice, but the rumors lived on, adding a cheeky layer of mystery to Ariel's underwater world. But let's be real. Whether by design or accident, these rumors keep the grown-ups entertained while the kids are lost in their magic. So next time you're watching your favorite Disney classic, keep your eyes peeled. You might catch a little wink hidden in the background, reminding you that even in the happiest place on earth, there's always room for a little mischief. Now, grab your tinfoil hats, or your tinfoil ears, and dive into one of the most glittery conspiracy theories out there. The idea that Disney is riddled with secret Illuminati symbols and messages. Like your favorite mouse and princess might just be part of the most magical secret society ever. So the Illuminati, for those who aren't familiar, is the legendary secret group said to control world events from behind the scenes. And apparently Disney is either in on it or a giant billboard for their hidden signs. People point to all kinds of symbols hidden throughout Disney movies and parks. Pyramids, all-seeing eyes, triangles, and even some like hand gestures that look suspiciously like secret handshake codes. But if you ever notice a random triangle popping up into the background shot or a character flashing what looks like a one-eye sign, congratulations. You're officially deep in the conspiracy. Fans love to analyze award show performances, music videos, and even theme park designs, claiming they're packed with Illuminati symbolism. For example, Mickey's iconic ears have been interpreted as a subtle, not too sacred geometry or secret symbolism. Some say the famous hidden Mickeys aren't just fun Easter eggs, but little Illuminati signatures. Now, is Disney really the secret society's playground? Most likely not. But it's a brilliant way to add mystery and fuel endless online debates. Plus, let's be honest, it's way more fun to imagine that Elsa is secretly running a shadow government than just freezing her kingdom. At the end of the day, whether you believe in secret Illuminati Disney overlords or just enjoy wild theories, one thing's for sure. It keeps us all watching, wondering, and scrolling for the next hidden clue. Okay, now it's time to step into one of Disney's spookiest corners, the Haunted Mansion. You know, the classic ride where you're invited to step into a world of supernatural delight and meet 999 happy haunts who just won't leave. Side note, it is my favoriteest ride ever. And just being on the ride makes my soul happy. And when I die, I want to be cremated and sprinkled around the ride. And I will gladly be that 1000th haunt. Like, I'll be the one more. Some folks claim that the Haunted Mansion isn't just a ride, it's actually haunted. Rumors swirl that the spooky spirits you meet aren't just animatronics, but real ghosts who've decided to stick around on Disney property. Part of this legend comes from old stories about the land before Disneyland, not Disney World, existed. Some say it was built over an old cemetery or that real paranormal activity was reported in that area. Cast members have whispered about unexplained cold spots, flickering lights, and mysterious voices in the empty ride halls during late night hours. Fans love these tales because the Haunted Mansion's eerie ambience, that was so Delco, ambiance and creepy charm give the perfect backdrop for ghost stories, making it a hotspot for paranormal enthusiasts. Some have even tried to capture EVP, which is electric voice phenomena, recordings while waiting in line or riding through spooky halls. Of course, Disney says that it's all part of the magic and storytelling and that the ghosts are just really talented animatronics and clever effects. But hey, mystery keeps the fun alive, right? And let's be honest, nothing says Disney like a little harmless spookiness mixed with your favorite theme park adventure. Whether you believe in real ghosts or just love the thrill of a good story, the Haunted Mansion remains one of the most beloved and mysterious attractions on both coasts. So next time you're floating through those haunted halls, keep your eyes peeled and maybe one of those 999 happy haunts is waving just for you. Now let's chill out for a minute and talk about Frozen, the mega hit Disney movie that had us all singing Let It Go at full volume and probably scaring the neighbors. Beneath the catchy tunes and adorable Olaf, some fans have cooked up some pretty wild theories about what's really going on in Arendelle. One popular rumor is that Elsa's powers aren't just magical, they might be a metaphor for something darker, like isolation, trauma, or even mental health struggles. Some folks say the whole Let It Go moment is really about Elsa breaking free from societal expectations, but others think it's hinting at her dealing with serious emotional pain. I mean, I go to Disney instead of dealing with my problems, so on brand. Then there's the theory that Frozen 2 dives even deeper and that the spirits Elsa encounters represents forces of nature and ancestral memories connecting her to the land in a way that's almost spiritual. Some think the movie touches on environmental themes wrapped up in the magic and mystery. And let's not forget the Frozen conspiracy theory that Arendelle is actually doomed. Some people say this story hints that Elsa's ice powers bring a kind of eternal winter, a curse that might never fully be lifted, and they're all dead. It's like the movie version of a doom prophecy hidden beneath all the sparkle. Of course, Disney hasn't officially said any of this, and a lot of it is fan interpretation and headcanon, but it's fun to dig into the layers and imagine there's more going on behind the frosty scenes. But next time you belt out Let It Go, maybe think about the deeper meanings lurking in the ice, or just enjoy the fact that Olaf is basically the best snowman ever. I quote his, Disney retelling stories all the time. It's usually the, I've been impaled. Just so you guys know how unserious I am as a mother, me and my husband and my daughter were away in Virginia for softball for my daughter, and something happened with, we have a huge, 12 by 12 canopy tent, so because sunlight, something was wrong with the tent, and it ended up collapsing a little bit, and it hit my daughter in the head, and instead of being like, oh my god, Amy, are you okay? I stood up and I was like, you've been impaled. My husband just looked at me like, there is something seriously wrong with you. But she was totally fine. She wasn't impaled. And she's not a little child or anything. She's 17. So it's fine. Now let's talk about one of the sneakiest and kind of genius Disney conspiracies, the Disney Vault. You know how your favorite classic Disney movies disappear from streaming and DVD stores every few years only to magically reappear like a fairy godmother? Surprise! The vault. I also don't know why I said surprise like that. The theory here is that Disney controls when and how you get access to their movies, keeping them locked up tight to create artificial scarcity. By only releasing classics like Cinderella, Beauty and the Beast, or The Lion King for limited times, they make sure fans have to buy them when they can or risk risking. No, it was not that. Risk missing out forever, not risking out. This marketing move is rumored to be one of Disney's most profitable tactics, playing out nostalgia and the idea that these movies are special and rare. And honestly, it works like a charm because who wants to risk not owning 100 copies of Aladdin? But the vault also means that for years, some Disney fans couldn't legally buy or stream their favorite classics, which fueled rumors about Disney controlling media and even censoring or editing content before re-releases. Fast forward to today, and with Disney Plus, you'd think the vault might be a thing of the past, but Disney still carefully manages what's available, by rotating titles and controlling access in ways that keep fans hooked. And while it's open, also, Disney, if you're listening, can you please put Model Behavior on Disney Plus because I need to watch it. But anyway, whether you see the vault as a clever marketing ploy or a corporate conspiracy, one thing's clear. Disney knows exactly how to keep us coming back for more magic and that warm, fuzzy feeling only a childhood favorite can bring. Next up, we have Disney villains. I told you I'm going to be using that echo all the time ever since I figured out how to do it. Disney villains are the iconic baddies who give the heroes a run for their money. But did you know that some of these villains might have been inspired by real people? The dark side of Disney could have some surprisingly human roots. Take Cruella de Vil from 101 Dalmatians. She's often said to be inspired by a real woman named Helen Gilligan, who was known for her eccentric style and obsession with fur coats. Some say that the name Cruella even came from combining cruel and devil, but the inspiration might have come from actual folks who crossed paths with the author of the original story. Then there's Maleficent from Sleeping Beauty. While there isn't a direct real-life person tied to her, her character was influenced by the classic fairy tale archetypes of evil witches and stepmothers, figures that many people might associate with harsh family members or powerful women who were misunderstood. Plus, Maleficent's striking look was inspired by a Japanese kabuki actor's costume, blending real-world artistry with fantasy. The queen from Snow White, the jealous stepmother obsessed with beauty, some speculate she was inspired by royal figures who had complicated family dynamics, jealousy, and a thirst for power. Though it's more folklore than fact, these stories often draw on real human emotions and histories. Even Captain Hook is rumored to be inspired by real pirate legends, blending historical facts with storytelling flair to create the swashbuckling villain we love to hate. But I love to love Captain Hook because he is one of my favorites. Obviously, Disney hasn't officially confirmed all of these connections. Sometimes it's more about blending myth with history and imagination, but it's fascinating to think that behind those wicked smiles might be echoes of real people, or at least the stories we tell about them. So next time you boo a Disney villain, remember, their roots might be closer to home than you think. Let's step outside the movies and into the Magic Kingdom itself. The Disney park. If you thought the films were full of secrets, wait until you hear about the hidden symbols and supposed occult messages sprinkled throughout the parks around the world. Conspiracy buffs love to point out all kinds of mysterious signs popping up in the architecture, landscaping, and even ride designs. Pyramids, pentagrams, all-seeing eyes. Some say Disney parks are basically an Illuminati playground disguised as family fun. For example, at Disneyland and Disney World, people have spotted triangular designs in the layout of certain plazas, or the hidden Mickey shapes arranged in ways that some references secret societies. There's even talk about the infamous Shadow Man, a figure rumored to lurk in the background of photos taken at the parks, supposedly representing some dark force watching over everything. Then there are the golden spikes in the park's central points. Some theorists claim they line up with certain astrological points, suggesting Disney might be tapping into cosmic energies. Whether it's real or just coincidence, it's fascinating to think about the layers of meaning these details might hold. Some folks argue that Walt Disney himself was fascinated with mysticism and symbolism, and that his vision for the parks included hidden messages meant to inspire or protect visitors on a subconscious level. Of course, most people see these symbols as fun Easter eggs or artistic design choices, nothing more than clever creativity to keep guests entertained and curious. But whether you believe Disney is hiding a secret society headquarters behind Cinderella's castle or just really loves a good design theme, it's clear that the parks are filled with magic, but both the obvious kind and the mysterious kind. So next time you're wandering through Main Street or Space Mountain, keep your eyes peeled. You might just spot a pyramid or two, or maybe it's just a really creative landscaping choice. Before I wrap up this Disney episode, let's hit up the wild world of Reddit, because where better to find stories, theories, and weird experiences, right? So here's a few comments I found, which is making me rethink my earlier statement of being cremated and sprinkled around the Haunted Mansion. It says, one of the biggest things security at their parks has to look out for is people smuggling in ashes to spread at the park. Into the Water of Pirates is supposedly the most popular location to deposit them. Someone else commented and said, this is 100% a thing. A friend used to work at Walt Disney World and told me they had cleaners in hazmat suits come and vacuum the ashes from the Haunted Mansion a couple times a week. I mean, that sucks. Because as much as I think I could successfully be spread throughout the Haunted Mansion, I don't want to end up in a vacuum. Here's a fun one. It's from Insert Awesome User ID. I like that. It says, this was an amazing experience. I was alone and the last person to enter Phantom Manor that day, the French Haunted Mansion. I had the stretching room and ride to myself. When I boarded the ride vehicle, the cast member at the boarding station was fully in character and walked along my cart till the hallway scene doing an impression of the butler from Scary Movie 2. Besides that, the ride is much, much more unsettling when no other guests are around. That's actually kind of funny because I would be I don't know, Scary Movie 2 is one of my favorite movies ever, and like I quote it often. So that would probably be like the highlight of my life. This one's from Drew Crew 62. I love how that rhymes. It says, 5 or so years ago, I was writing Pirates of the Caribbean. I believe it's right before the burning town scene. On the left-hand side, there's almost an alcove with a balcony that's kind of off to the side. When we got to that part, there was a shadowy person who looked like they were leaning on the balcony and looking out over the boats. I remember locking eyes with it and just being really confused because I've been on Pirates a billion times and have never seen anything like that in that spot before. Only thing I can think of is there was a cast member there to keep an eye on the boats. Not sure if anyone who's worked the ride can verify if that's a thing they do or not, but it was a really creepy experience, especially since the ride has a reputation of being haunted. Here's a comment from Mesa Verde 1987 to Drew Crew, and it says, I think George is the pirate ghost, for whatever reason, especially active in that part of the building. Perhaps because it is indeed the most far-flung and least traversed portion of the ride. He seems to especially lurk around storage which is a spur line that runs underneath the Burning City show scene, where boats may be moved on or off the main ride path in order to be sent to or released from the maintenance bay. The spur line begins at the end of the chase scene near Old Bill, the pirate with the cats, a figure who was in face designed by Mark Davis, especially for the Walt Disney World show, so that audiences would not notice an unusually long gap in the ride. The figure was cloned and placed in a similar spot for the Disneyland show later on, and the pacing of the gag is not as effective there as a result, since at Disneyland, storage is at the bombardment bay scene. To facilitate dry passage along the edge of the spur line is a number of plastic grates laid across the floor, which is often flooded with a bit of water. Many have crossed these gates during an evacuation or during after-hours events where cast are stationed in the ride to watch guests and hear the second pair of feet walking behind them a few grates back, and even felt cold breath on their neck. On the opposite of the spur line, a shadowy man is sometimes seen sitting in a prop chair near Old Bill, crossing the bridge which divides the chase scene from the fire scene. That's so cool. I'm actually, I'll probably have already ridden this ride once this episode airs, but I'm going to look for George. Okay, I will end by reading this story about George the Pirate Ghost. I would love to tell you who wrote this, but it says deleted. So if you are deleted, hello. It says, first off, I just want to say that I didn't write this. I found this online about 15 years ago. This is not fan fiction or anything like that. It is a first-hand account from a former cast member about the daily dealings with the supposed ghost, George. Please read this at your own discretion. Personally, I do not know if I believe this or not. There has been no record of any construction worker or welder who died during construction of the ride. At the same time, though, this was way before the internet and 24-hour news coverage. I'm sure a lot of things were covered up back then as well. But anyways, here it is. The first day I ever worked at Pirates of the Caribbean, it was a humid early morning, summer 1979. The building was quiet and still, the water was glassy and calm, and the audio animatronics were twitching. Those things move after they've been turned off and spasm occasionally at the wrist or neck. But the eeriest thing was the silence. It isn't until you've seen the Magic Kingdom utterly abandoned and quiet that you realize it's not a place for human beings. All of that warmth you feel in the bright light of day really comes from that reassuring music, the faces, and the people. Under work lights and powered down periods, those attractions are more like ghost houses. Museums staffed by nobody for a crowd that may never return. As I began to change into my newly acquired pirate uniform, a voice boomed on the PA system. Good morning, George. George was a young man who, while welding on an extremely high area of the ride during its construction, fell to his death. Ever since opening day, inexplicable events have plagued the attraction. Breakdowns were constant and unmotivated. Female cast members were mysteriously patted on their rear and had their bra straps snapped. During the first few months of the attraction's opening, it is said that an old woman who would often enter the ride and ask for a boat to herself. On the in-ride security cameras, she could be seen weeping and talking to nobody. Eventually, it was discovered that she was having imaginary conversations with her deceased son, George. The tallest structure within the ride is a multi-windowed tower. It can be seen to the right of Carlo's house in the well dunking scene, and again from a different viewpoint during the burning city scene. This structure is supposedly the one which George fell from during construction, and his initials, carved on the bottom of the tower, cannot be painted over as they will bleed through the paint. The tower is called George's Tower by cast members, and rumor has it that if someone sees a light on in George's Tower from the dunking well scene, it means that George is home. If you get to the burning city scene and notice that the light is still on in George's tower, it often is not, then something bad is about to happen. After the burning city scene is the jail scene. To the right is the infamous dog, keys dangling from his mouth, taunting the audio animatronic prisoners. Behind the dog is a small door. This door has been called George's door, and it must be closed at all times. If George's door is left open, the ride should not be powered up in the morning. Maintenance staff know well enough to shut it behind them. However, sometimes the door begins the day shut and will, in the middle of the day, mysteriously creak open. If George's door is open, it is said a serious breakdown is sure to follow. As you can imagine, if the light is on in George's tower and George's door is open, it is considered to be especially bad. What a textbook account for all of these customs, traditions, and superstitions fails to convey is the day-to-day reality of George. The morning and evening greetings to George over the PA are indeed mandated by Disney management, and any deviation will result in the day's breakdowns being explicitly blamed on the closing cast member of a previous night. Switches, doors, water sensors, and other basic mechanics sometimes inexplicably malfunction, causing the ride computer to enter a cycle out mode, which means that the boatload gates lock and the computer enters a power down phase. I mention this probably 1,000 times, but I will be in Disney when this episode airs, so I will make sure to say hello and good night to you, George. That's a wrap on our magical and mysterious dive into Disney conspiracy theories, from frozen legends to secret symbols and all the wild stories in between. Whether you believe those stories or just love a good Disney deep dive, one thing's for sure, Disney magic is real and it keeps us coming back for more. And before I say goodbye, good night, George. May your spirit keep the adventures alive and churros flowing. Next week, get ready to step into the mind-bending world of quantum immortality and near-death glitches. Those weird, trippy moments where reality seems to glitch and some believe consciousness might just skip death altogether. And I obviously can't leave without playing this song of the week. It's from a band called Outline Soul, and it's called Digital Sea, and it's amazing, and go stream it wherever you get your music. Go be kind to someone for no reason, and go be amazing.